Hi, I'm Monsy. I'm one of the co-founders of ONWARD, our network for the well-being and advancement of relocated dreamers. Welcome to another episode of Dreamers Abroad, our series which focuses on the lives of dreamers who have relocated and how their lives have changed since moving to a new country. This is not legal advice, however, nor encouragement for any decision making. This is just a video about dreamers and their experiences. So today we have Santiago to talk about his experience moving to Germany. So Santiago, can you tell us a bit more about your experience in the United States?
Hi, Monsy. Yeah, of course, absolutely. Thanks a lot for inviting me to this series. I hope my experience and my journey, which I've had the last decade in Germany, could be insightful and helpful to some other viewers in the future. And yeah, to tell you about my experience so far, it's been great. It's given me a lot of opportunities being in Germany, in a new country, immersing myself in this culture, making a lot of friends here from Germany, from a lot of parts of the world. It's a very multicultural country as well. Yeah, I can only be grateful that I've been able to do this, that I had the courage also to take this opportunity myself and experience living abroad, living in another country, and making a future out of it here too, right? So I'm quite content at the moment with Germany. I'm looking for living here long term, and you are here in Germany too. You know personally firsthand also what are some of the nice benefits that we can reap from this beautiful country here.
Definitely. I have found so much stability here in Germany, not only in the aspect of like professional, but just like even like the access to healthcare, the 30 days paid vacation, like incredible, so good for the soul. I can
Absolutely.
I can only agree with you that it's also just like a really great place to meet new people from all kinds of different cultures. How would you say that it's different than the United States?
It's completely different than the United States. It's Germany itself, it's as big as a state, Texas, for example, in the United States. So you can already know that, as big as of a country Germany is, and it feels for us here, it's a drop in a bucket of what the United States is in size. Nevertheless, it's still such a big country. It's a very European country with a lot of history, of course, over centuries. You can see this in the architecture of the country, of the different cities. Each of them have their own vibe. The villages, the small towns, the nature in Germany. We have the Black Forest, the German Alps down south. We have the Black Sea up north. It's really very wonderful, completely different than the United States. The mentality of the German people, the cuisine of the German people, it's 180 degrees to what you experience in the United States.
And in terms of it being welcoming, have you found that it's about the same, or do you feel more welcomed here?
Um, I would say I come from North Carolina in the United States, so we always had this Southern hospitality that I will live by it till the day I die, and that is something very special from the United States, from that region that I think you don't really find elsewhere here. The German peoples tend to be a little bit colder or more direct, let's say. So you won't, especially in a big city, you shouldn't expect a hello for every person that you cross by. However, in smaller towns in Germany, in smaller villages, the people have been very friendly, very welcoming, also very interesting, and knowing from where I am, what am I doing here in small towns. So you can't say one is completely different than the other. It's very welcoming too. Also, as an immigrant in Germany, as an expat here, you also have to be able to find these good people which exist everywhere and feel welcome by them and grow your little network step by step.
I agree completely. It's a little trickier to start a deep friendship here. I think in particular as adults, but you can definitely find really cool and very kind people here. So yeah, I think you made a very good point that you can definitely find it if you take the time to find it, of course.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
to change the topic a little bit, if we can go back a bit to your time in the United States, would you mind telling us a little more about your reasons for departing the United States? And I know that you left maybe 10 years ago. So, if you could tell us, perhaps like from the beginning, what it was about 10 years ago specifically that made you choose Germany.
Yeah, absolutely. So, first of all, I want to thank my parents, right? They gave me a very safe childhood growing up. Everything, all the activities I wanted to do, the soccer team I wanted to join, the traveling country experiencing, they really did provide a very nice childhood growing up. I had the opportunity to study at North Carolina State University as well, go to a big American college, experienced that, and it was quite satisfying, to be honest. It was I couldn't say I didn't have a good opportunity in the United States. However, in this time about 10 years ago, I was 24 years old, and I was seeing many of my friends having international opportunities or just traveling abroad, going back home to their countries in Latin America, going to Europe for the summer. And this was something under the DACA program that wasn't available to us. And you could say it was probably a little bit of jealousy not being able to do this, or frustration of why I'm a good citizen, I haven't been in trouble, why I couldn't partake in such opportunities. And I think that was one of the biggest influencing reasons for me to seek other opportunities abroad, to be able to travel internationally, visit other places in the world. I'm a huge fan of animals. I want to go see a tiger in an elephant that lives in Sri Lanka. I want to go see the fauna of the Amazons in Latin America. And being so constricted by a passport, a document, a legal document that I didn't choose to represent me just by a chance of luck of where I was from, and being a what we call in quotes a very not good passport for traveling, a very unlucky passport for traveling, the Ecuadorian passport. It restricted myself also with visas, having to deal with this to travel. And under the DACA program, of course, you're not allowed to freely travel as well. So you really had to stay in the United States until whenever that was, in a huge question mark, whenever that green card would become available. So to me, asking myself, yeah, this green card's coming soon, but soon turning into a year and then 2 years and then 3 years also was a bit frustrating from my personal growth that I wanted to do in this world, right? To experience different cultures, experience traveling. And that's the biggest influencing factor that pushed me to look at opportunities abroad, whether it was going back to my home country or going to Europe or going to Australia. I started looking for opportunities for higher education. So pursuing a master's degree, which is a nice way to have at least 1 year, maybe 2 years of a program, and to study and to gain a higher education, which then would allow open doors in the country that I'm studying at. That was my main goal. And I found a program in Berlin, Germany.
Okay, so that's really exciting. And in particular, I agree with you. The the getting to see like other people discovering the world and being like, that sounds so awesome. That's definitely something that I want to do. Or like seeing just other parts of the world, right? Like it's such a
Mhm.
privilege that people sometimes don't realize. So I'm really excited that you got to take that opportunity and that you weren't afraid to go for it.
Definitely, it takes a lot of courage to do it, right? I cannot say that I'm a big tough guy under behind these glasses, and I wasn't scared. It's a huge jump, definitely. It's difficult seeing your parents and telling them that you've decided to move abroad when they force themselves to move from their home country to the United States to have a better future. But I'm very grateful that my parents were welcoming of this experience that I wanted to pursue and supportive of the decision that I wanted to make. It's definitely been a privilege also to be able to travel, as you said. And it takes courage, definitely, to pack up your things, to sell off your property, and move in with 2 suitcases, right? It's never going to be easy. If you add on top a language barrier, a culture barrier, you have to be very opening to learn these differences, to immerse yourself in the language, in the culture, in the peoples, and that'll help it become a bit more comfortable for you. But yeah, definitely a scary flight. It was I entered the United States when I was a child, 5, 6 years old, so I don't have recollection of that transatlantic flight. And now going from North Carolina to Berlin, Germany, I clearly remember it. 9 hours on a plane. Landing at an airport, the sunlight looks different, the air smells different, the signs, you can't understand them, you can't read them, was really a culture shock. So it was really cool, and it felt super interesting that I did that. But of course, I had to say goodbye to my siblings, to my parents, to my friends, for an extended period of time. Not knowing when maybe we could see each other. It could be a year, it could be 5 years. For some people, I didn't get to see almost 10 years.
Yeah, that's definitely, I think, particularly for people within our community, like we're very connected with our families. And
Yeah,
so that unsure of that instability of not knowing when you're going to see them again is really difficult. Which actually, when you first got to Germany, were all of those emotions kind of weighing on you, or was your experience at first like a little more excited? Which emotion was winning out at the very beginning?
excitement for a new change, for exploration, for meeting new people. It was really um, fantastic experience. It's one that really engraves in your head. Being an immigrant, again, moving to a brand new country, you're not going there just for vacation. You're going there to settle. You need to. There's a lot of challenges, right? You need to figure out in Germany how to register yourself, how to get a bank account, how to get health insurance. It's not a vacation, right? So um, but amazing nevertheless. I'm lucky to say that I connected with some people in Berlin through our common interest in the sport of rugby. And my university friend's brother was actually a coach in Berlin of a rugby team, and as I was going to Berlin, he was moving back to the States, and he connected me with that club to be able to play with them, to coach them too if I was interested. So I already had some acquaintances, let's say, waiting in Berlin, which made it easier. And that was back in the day, 10 years ago, where we had Facebook and email to communicate. Now with Instagram and X and TikTok, maybe it's even easier for people. And there's so many forums also for people to connect. And you never know how many people in similar experiences are going through the same thing as you, right? And this is how I met you, Monsy, too, online, looking at your onward organization too, realizing, okay, recently only like, hey, I'm not the only one who's gone through this. There must be hundreds of dreamers who also decided to leave the US to pursue exactly what I was looking for. And now this community that you have with almost 8,000 people is just a phenomenal number, right? Of immigrants, expats from the dreamer community in the United States.
Yeah, it's kind of wild how large we have grown. I think that the need, right, for people to leave, like that's not the great thing, but to see the things that people accomplish when they're actually given the opportunity to achieve whatever goals they set their mind to is mind-blowing. Just how much um this freedom of social economic mobility can
Yeah,
make a difference for people, and how many amazing things people are accomplishing around the world. It's astounding to me, and I'm very grateful to this community just because I get to meet the coolest people. I get to meet people who even when they were afraid, they still took on a challenge. They still did that thing that everyone talks about, which is like moving to a new country and just like figuring things out on your own. And so of course, I have so much respect for everyone in the community, not only for being very resilient, but also for like, even when you're afraid, you still go for it. And that's very admirable uh,
absolutely.
all
Yeah.
around, right?
Yeah.
And actually, I wanted to ask you a bit more about, you mentioned that you did have to figure things out all by yourself here in Germany and like with like in German, which is not easy. I think a lot of people say like German's really easy to learn. It is not, spoiler alert.
No, not at all.
Um,
Every day I'm learning something new.
Yeah, I have been here for 8 years now, and it still gives me anxiety sometimes looking at some of the sentences in German. So, like, definitely always keep that in your periphery if you're thinking about moving to Germany. But how was the legal process of moving to Germany? Was it pretty straightforward, or was it like multifaceted?
So one of the beauties about Germany is paperwork, paperwork, paperwork. If you file the correct forms in the correct office, um, it may take a long time. They still love the fax machine here, but someone will take care of it and make sure that documentation, the Antrag, what's Antrag, the request is submitted correctly and goes through, right? So and it all started while in the United States, right? Applying for a visa to study in Germany. What was granted to me was a 90-day, 3-month tourist visa almost, where as soon as you landed in Germany, you had to go to the immigration office and change it into a more permanent student visa. This is all nicely described in the website of the immigration office in Germany. I think you've prepared a very nice document too, listing how to do this, where to do this. If one follows these correctly, goes to the correct building by last name, ordered by last name, and you have the correct documents which they request, which would be, for example, a bank account with X amount of money reserved for a study visa, plus registration of your apartment or where you are living, then this is straightforward. They accept the application and they grant you the visa. Of course, they see how long your program is. If it's 1 year, they will tend to give you a 1-year visa. If it's a 2-year program too, if it looks like it may take a bit longer, 4 or 5 years, they are quite flexible with this time period, whether it's 3 years and you have to come for a renewal, or maybe sometimes they can give it directly to you for 5 years. Every visa has a different limitations, right? Amount of work that you can do, amount of studies that you can do, right? If you come with a student visa, don't expect to be working a full-time job because it's not under the documentation of the German government that allows for that, right? So it's more strict. It's not so flexible like the United States and working under the table in cash. Here in Germany, really, you have to have an appropriate visa for studying, an appropriate visa for working, an appropriate visa for studying German. And if you have that, then it makes your life easier here.
For sure. You have to be very diligent about
Yes.
gathering all documentation. whatever documentation you have, keep all of it, make copies of it.
Translate them, get an official stamp if you
Yeah,
need to.
yeah.
The Germans love stamps and official signatures on anything. It's really important. Yeah, absolutely right. I even had to show my bachelor's degrees from the United States in the real form, right? Which I had to dig through my closet back home at my parents' house to get them.
Yeah, and even when you have the real ones, you do have to go through a process. I believe it's the recognition of some diplomas.
Correct. Yeah.
Oftentimes, even when you have your diploma with you, you have to get it recognized by the German government to see if it's equivalent to German standards. And I mean, it's very nice to have all of the translation, the copy, and the official stamp from Germany that says like, this is a diploma and we certified it. That's a really good thing to show up to the foreigner's office and show them.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. It is very you have to be very thorough, but they do their best. And thankfully, I do remember when I first got to Germany, like it was all paper and fax. Now we're starting to digitize. So
Yeah. Slowly. Don't hold your horses, not too fast. Huh?
we are doing our best. Memes just made it to Germany and digitation is starting to happen. So things are starting to get a little quicker, but people are still getting the hang of things. So no promises that it's going to be like a very fast process. Definitely have a lot of patience.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
now that you have, so you got here, you got your visa, you got the ability to go to study, and besides those very cool things, can you explain to me a bit more about what other opportunities have opened up to you since moving to Germany?
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities that came with having a visa here and living in Germany. You know, of course, traveling, seeing different um, countries within Europe, which is also crazy. You know, if you're driving by car or taking a train, you're in the European Union, you're in the Schengen area, you just cross the border, and there's no questions asked. You know, there's really a liberty of a freedom of travel here in Europe, which is unfathomable in the United States. You know, even with the neighboring countries, Mexico and Canada, it's just a huge border, and it's so protected, it's difficult to go through easily. But you come to Europe here, and it's much easier to travel through here. So that was a crazy experience also to see, you know. And living in Berlin, if you drive 1 hour east, you're in Poland already. The language changes immediately, the peoples change immediately too. It's so crazy, and it's open borders. And when you are when I was living in the United States and this opportunity didn't present itself, seeing that Europeans can do, and also Europeans, EU citizens can also work freely in different countries. It's just an amazing experience with this, right? That was an amazing experience to see living here in Germany. Also, the opportunity of learning a third language, right? German is a difficult language, as you were saying earlier. You really have to focus in it. You really have to learn the sentence structure, the grammar. But it's a very mathematical language, I have to say. So it makes sense. And the words the Germans like to clump up together make sense.
Yeah, I definitely like it definitely has like a really good foundation. And then the more you build on it, if you have a really good foundation, you can definitely figure out the rest because it's just like plugging in the math that you have learned. Unfortunately, I'm terrible at math, so that might have also been that might have also been why I struggled so hard with it. And do you mind if I ask you what has it been like because you did get your German citizenship?
Right. Yep.
Um, how is the feeling of becoming a citizen here in Germany for you?
Oh, it's great. I mean, this just brings it up to another level of freedom, to say, from the Ecuadorian passport. You know, it's I love being Ecuadorian. I'm happy I'm a dual citizen too. I didn't have to renounce my Ecuadorian citizenship. thank God, right? I don't think I wanted to either. It was the only identity, the only identifying factor that I had for myself too, living in the United States. Always presented myself as Ecuadorian. I'm Ecuadorian, and being able to keep that is amazing too. Here, I don't think it's for all citizenships that allow that, but thankfully the Ecuadorian does, and the German as well. And just getting this German passport already just opens up 120 more countries to be able to visit visa free, and just having that liberty of planning, which is, it's a very privileged opportunity that we get to travel, and we get to travel so much these days, and I'm very grateful for that. But I don't have to be thinking if I need a visa, or if I need to apply for something else. I can just pack up a suitcase, go on vacation somewhere, and come back here to Europe. And it's that liberty is what we were searching in the United States one day to get with the American passport. But it was just so difficult to, even after 20 years in the United States, to be able to apply for that forgiveness, for that of childhood arrivals, and to be able to stay in the United States. I think if that opportunity came 10 years ago or even earlier, and I could have been a US citizen, I probably wouldn't be in Europe, to be honest, because that's what we were looking for. So I miss the United States. I miss my parents too. It's home to me as well. But it gets to a point where you can wait so much as an individual and see where it's affecting your personal growth and the things that you want to do, that you need to bite the bullet and make executive decisions for your betterment, right? And this is personal growth experience. Only 34 years old, halfway there, maybe, hopefully more. And every day is going to be a new experience full of new challenges. It's always changing too. Who knows what happens in the future too with the European Union, with that. You can't live in fear. Also, you have to be quite optimistic too. And if the opportunity presents itself, like it did in my case, being able to go study a master's program, sometimes it's worth it to take that decision and focus on looking forward.
Definitely, and moving onward from all of those things.
Moving onward
Put
from
in
all
the
of that.
paper.
Exactly.
I had to slide that in. I was like, oh, this is my chance. Um, so this has been very insightful. I think that your positivity is definitely something to really admire, in particular, particularly because this is a very challenging thing to do, making that decision, leaving home behind, deciding to pursue a life elsewhere, not where you had pictured it, but definitely someplace where you've still got a shot at, accomplishing similar things. And you've done that, you have attained the German dream. You have your citizenship, you have a great home, and you seem really happy where you are in Germany. So I was just wondering, what advice would you give to other DACA recipients or dreamers that are considering relocating outside of the United States?
Definitely do your homework. There's so many videos that you can see. I hope this one offers you a little insight too. Look up the forums online, look up on the ONWARD website, Reddit. I got a lot of information from Reddit. Make a plan, see how feasible it is, requiring to move to make such a big change also requires a little bit of money too. So to make it easier, have a little bit of savings too. Don't just get up and move, because that could be very difficult. Have a plan. Try to chat online with other people who've done similar experiences. Maybe they can give you an insight on that. Follow the rules. There's no shortcuts, really. If you want to do everything correctly, download the document, follow the instructions, submit it correctly, and it will benefit you. Life shouldn't be about taking shortcuts either. It should really be about taking the the road less traveled by. And it's always going to be growth for yourself. You're going to learn more. You're going to learn that it's not black and white. You're going to learn that the system that the United States teaches us and the way they function may be better in some cases than in Germany or in other countries, but sometimes some programs or process that the United States does doesn't really benefit or isn't accepted in other countries, right? So you also have to be flexible. You have to be able to adapt to changes, adapt to different areas, to different peoples, to different opportunities as well. Don't question yourself too much. If you question yourself too much, you might miss the train and you might miss the opportunity. Don't be scared. It's a normal feeling to have a little bit of fear to the unknown, but it's all under personal growth, right? And it's, if you do it carefully, if you do it correctly, if you don't put yourself in risky situations, if you have support from friends, families, or new people that you meet, it's always going to make life easier. And if you have the opportunity yourself to help someone with your experiences, to what you've learned, to what you've done, share it. There's nothing good about holding all the knowledge that you have in the world without sharing it for someone else. One of the best things we can do as human beings is help each other out, especially in a community where we might be persecuted or we might not be welcomed so much. It's good to create this network together to make sure everyone is doing a little bit better every day.
Absolutely. The best thing to do with these privileges that you gather is to allow someone else to benefit from it. And so this is why I really appreciate that you're doing this interview with us so that other people can learn more. And if I may attach one more thing to your advice, you said, don't be afraid. And I agree completely. And I think people should also know, don't be afraid of denials or not getting accepted instantly, or maybe it doesn't work out in one country. Then try a different country, try a different location, keep trying. It took me about 8 tries before I actually got accepted for my visa for Germany. And if I had given up the first time, I would have never found out that I actually did qualify. I was just filling things out incorrectly. And that's very important, right? It's very normal to make mistakes. It's very normal to fall down. Just keep in mind, you're going to have to get up. And the only way to keep moving forward is to continue getting up every time you fall. So be prepared for that. And is there anything else that you would like to say before we close off the interview?
No, thank you very much for the opportunity to talk with you, Monsy. Like I said, it's super cool to find this organization, what you guys have been creating, seeing it grow every day online with more and more people. If any of the viewers have questions and regarding this interview or my experience, they're happy to connect with you. You can connect them to me also. And looking forward to maybe another series with you as well, and talking about something else more specific, and helping out other people. You're absolutely right. The last comment you said is so good too. Be persistent always. Don't think it's the end of the world when something bad happens. Just try to be positive, which is something I am also still to this day working on more and more every day.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Santiago, for this interview. And thank you to everyone for watching. I hope that you were able to take something with. And as Santiago mentioned, if you want to get in touch with him, get in touch with us and we can connect you with him for more questions. So we will see you next time for our next Dreamers Abroad interview. And take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.